Tonight on News 5 Live, lengthy jail time for 3 of Ramon Cervantes' killers. But is the police department and Interpol doing anything to capture a 4th suspect in Mexico? A drug plane landed in the deep south over the weekend. We'll tell you what the commander of police said about the latest narco landing. And SIB says the economy improved in the first quarter of 2022. These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
I'm always on the go, and the country is my home. So when I want to get away from it all, I immerse myself with my favorite movies, all from the new Smart Stream app. It's easy to use this service. Purchase your movies from the app and use your mobile data, Smart Stream data packages, or smart broadband to stream and enjoy. Be like me and stream on the go with Smart Stream.
Welcome to Design Depot, all in one place. Shop brands you know and trust, like Kohler. Welcome, GE Appliances.
Welcome.
Oran Windows.
Welcome.
Tiles from around the world.
Welcome.
Sherwin-Williams Paint and Coatings. Visit us today at mile 3 on the Philip Golson Highway or call us at 223-3768. Design Depot, all in one place.
Todo beliceño merece tener una conexión de internet de calidad, rápida y confiable en su hogar. Para clases en línea y trabajo desde casa, es la nueva forma de vida. Diginet es el proveedor número 1 de servicio de fibra óptica, impulsando la transición digital de Belice. Y ahora nuestro servicio de Diginet es aún más accesible con nuestro nuevo plan de entrada. Por tiempo limitado, tú y tu familia pueden disfrutar de 20 megabits por segundo por solamente $49 mensuales. No más clases perdidas ni reuniones virtuales interrumpidas. Te está costando mucho tiempo y dinero. Diginet es mejor que cualquier opción de cable o servicio inalámbrico. Visita cualquier Digistore hoy y suscríbete para la conexión más rápida y confiable de Internet para el hogar en Belice. Ven a ver lo que te has estado perdiendo. El mismo servicio de fibra de alta calidad, rápido y confiable, ahora a un precio aún más bajo. Para más información, visita www.livedigi.com/Diginet. Digi, nuestra telecomunicación nacional.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Wednesday, June 29th. I am Sabrina Daly. Manuel Castillo, one of 4 men accused of the abduction and murder of 71-year-old Ramon Cervantes Sr. in July 2014, is yet to be brought to justice. Despite being detained for his alleged role in the shocking crime, Castillo somehow managed to escape from lawful custody before fleeing the jurisdiction. Since then, the family of the former senator and Orange Walk mayor has made all attempts to have Interpol actively seek the missing suspect. Those efforts, according to Ramon Cervantes Jr., have fallen flat. On Tuesday, Castillo's accomplices were handed down stiff sentences, including life in prison. Noe Gonzalez, Angel Cardenas, and Mateo Pot Jr. were given minimum sentences of 21 years in prison for a crime that has ripped the Cervantes family apart. Ramon Monchi Cervantes Jr., now an area representative and Minister of State, spoke with the media in person this morning in Orange Walk.
It's never over, because that vacuum that was left will never be filled, but we must go on. And again, as I said the last time, I believe we got the best legal justice that could be afforded by the legal system within the parameters, no? That I guess restricts the judiciary, or that governs over the judiciary system. So it provides some degree of comfort, which we have to live with. The guy has confessed to it. There is still one out there that is on the run. So it's not fully completed yet. But for this part, you know, well, like you said, you know, it's we have to live with I guess it's the best justice that we could get under the system.
With respect to the other suspect who remains on the lam, do you believe that local and international authorities are moving fast enough to try to locate and apprehend him?
Regarding the local authorities, I don't even know if they are moving. You know, we've been pressing on this with they always tell us it's at Interpol, it's at Interpol. I mean, the other day I saw I think a red flag on a former minister who was a minister just a few years ago, being put on the red flag or something like that in Interpol. And this guy Castillo hasn't even come up on that, so I don't know what they're doing. And I am asking once again the police department, especially Interpol, to move up on it. You know, we must be able to do something with through the authorities, through the proper authorities, and I think it is incumbent upon them, upon the police department. And I ask the commissioner and to step up on the Interpol department, or whoever's in charge of Interpol, and to move on this case. We must get this guy and get the full, complete story.
Have your family been able to come up with the reason why your dad was killed? Like, it seemed, reviewing it and coming back to it now, so strange, and the only motivation could have been money maybe, but anything comes to mind to you all?
We still don't have the full story, and that's why I said in the initial, you know, the sentencing of these guys is the completion of a part of it. You know, we don't know anything for sure, anything that's definite. The only thing we know is that what has happened.
You heard it. Orange Walk North Area Representative Ramon Cervantes Jr. says that the Belize Police Department and Interpol have been dormant in the hunt for Manuel Castillo. The fugitive is believed to have absconded to neighboring Mexico after escaping from police officers who detained him at his home in Orange Walk Town. This afternoon, Commissioner of Police Chester Williams responded to Cervantes' criticism of the department's efforts to capture Castillo and bring him to justice.
I don't know how the minister would say that, because I personally have spoken to the minister about that matter, and we certainly are in dialogue with Interpol, and in particular with our Mexican counterparts, because we believe that this individual may be in Mexico. The issue is, or the difficulty is, that they have not been able to locate him. But it is a live issue, and we continue to be in search for that individual.
Your family was particularly critical of the police department in the first few years of this case. It took the three accused that they caught initially 8 years. And you guys were very dissatisfied with the way the investigations were progressing. Is there any hindsight in which you would have possibly treated the situation differently in terms of the way you guys complained about their performance?
How should I say? Hindsight is always 20/20, but if there are any, there are very few things that would have changed, really. There are very, if there is, I really can't think of anything, any major or substantial part of it that I would have a change of mind in. You know, I think we also, you know, commended the police department when they moved quickly, and we gave them the information that where, you know, who is the main suspect through calls that we got, and where, you know, is their house and everything. So they moved. Still one of the lingering doubts is how comes the guy Castillo got away from them at their own house, and it's not like in the middle of the jungle or you know, by a river or by a sea. That is still lingering in our minds as the doubt as to how that happened.
For several months, there had not been any report of a drug plane landing in Belize. That lull, however, was short-lived as local authorities were informed over the weekend that an aircraft had departed from South America en route to Belize. That track was monitored closely until the flight entered Belizean airspace several hours later. The suspected drug plane eventually landed in a remote area of southern Belize, and despite a team of BDF and police officers being deployed to a location behind Sundaywood Village, may have been successfully offloaded of its illicit cargo. This afternoon, Commissioner of Police Chester Williams provided additional details to say that the burnt vestiges of the aircraft were spotted from above by a BDF defender that provided the team on the ground with the actual coordinates.
On Saturday evening, or Saturday night actually, we had received information of a truck coming out of South America, and that it may be coming our way. Based on that information that we had received, we deployed our troops, which comprises of police and BDF, to different locations as we would normally do. Sometime after 2 a.m. on Saturday night, which would be Sunday morning, we received information from our Mexican counterparts that the plane may have landed in the area of Sunday Woods. That's a village in the Toledo district. And again, this area, as you would know, is one of rugged terrain, and our troops that were deployed in the Toledo district had to move from where they were and redeployed to that area. But again, due to the rugged nature of the terrain, it took the troops hours to get to the location. By the time we got there, it was sometime after 2 p.m. on Sunday. And that's because we had to be guided to the location by the Belize Defense Force Air Wing, which did a flew over and saw the burnt remains of the plane and directed the troops to the area. When we got there, the team were able to found a number of bicycles and some other items, which we believe were used by those persons involved in the illicit landing of that plane. We certainly suspect that the cargo on board the plane was drugs, and we have launched a number of operations in the area with a view to see if we can locate the findings. But again, the area is more close to the Guatemalan border than Belize, so we believe that the product may have been taken into Guatemala as opposed to Belize, as the area where the plane landed is near the Temash River. And the Temash River, if it comes out of that, it takes you to the area of Barranco, and from there you go through the sea and you're right into Guatemala. So we believe that the drugs may have taken that route.
Coming up, the Upper House debates a $6 million COVID loan. Details when we return.
Belize's National Protected Areas system includes 103 different sites. Of those, 14 are marine protected areas, accounting for over 1,600 square miles of the nation's territory. This vital seascape runs the length of Belize and includes critical spawning and aggregate sites, wildlife habitats, mangrove forests, and natural monuments, including 3 of the only 4 atolls in the Western Hemisphere. Belize's marine protected areas hold a significant place in the nation's economic and social well-being. The Protected Areas Conservation Trust supports the effective management of all of Belize's national protected areas, including our marine protected areas. Over its 25-year history, PACT has invested in several areas of support for Belize's marine protected areas, including enforcement, supporting community livelihoods, expansion, research, and other areas of support valuing over $6.8 million. Since 2019, PACT has invested over $1.19 million in the Turnef Atoll Marine Reserve alone.
The Turnef Atoll Marine Reserve was established in legislation in 2012. As the official co-manager, we have an agreement with the government of Belize, through the Belize Fisheries Department, to be able to do the day-to-day management of the Turnef Atoll Marine Reserve.
At just over 325,000 acres, the Turnef Atoll Marine Reserve is the largest in Belize's marine reserve network. This area holds significant cultural and economic value for many Belizeans.
The Turnef Atoll Marine Reserve supports $500 million Belize dollars in revenue generation annually. This is split up in $382 million in shoreline protection that comes from the seagrass, the mangroves, and the coral reefs, buffering any natural events to Belize City and surrounds. Then you have about $5 to $7 million in commercial fishery that comes from conch, lobster, and finfish. There is blue carbon that we have estimated, an estimated value of about $7 million in blue carbon. As Belizeans, we are tied to our natural resources. Most of us grow up around the sea, and even if you live in the capital, you're a mile away from the sea, or you have gone to Placencia in the south, or Hopkins, or and you've enjoyed those beaches. And so there is an intrinsic cultural value. The PAC investment has been the core and the backbone of our innovative work that we have been doing there. Because without PAC support, we would not have survived COVID. PAC has supported our operations, especially on the ground with our 16 officers that we have there. They, in many cases, they funded the full salaries. In some cases, we matched the salaries. They also funded a big portion of the fuel and maintenance for the Turnef Atoll Marine Reserve. Many times people want things to get done, but it is only with organizational support like that from PAC that we actually have people who will take the grants that we get for the programmatic work, and the PAC has provided the warm bodies to actually do the work.
PAC has also provided a $150,000 cost extension for continued enforcement.
PAC has extended the program of work with us, and that is very welcome because we are in a critical stage right now in which we are ramping all of this up, and we are seeing the revenue generation come in slowly. Our interest in working with PAC is to create a model for as many of the protected areas where this model could work.
PAC's work in the Turnef Atoll Marine Reserve represents only a portion of the demonstrated commitment to Belize's marine protected areas. Elsewhere, additional investments have gone into improved and continued enforcement, improved research capacity, and improved management of Belize's marine protected areas, all in an effort to enhance the quality of life for all Belizeans, now and in the future. PACT, investing in people and protected areas.
I am proud to be a Belizean.
I've always enjoyed the different flavors of my country. Every nook and cranny has its own unique taste.
Our history, rich with culture. We've come so far since our independence. Our flag, rivers, mountains, our people, diverse and strong.
Looking back, I am proud and honored. We must continue to preserve and conserve our culture and country for the next generation.
This is our Belize. Respect it, cherish it, love it.
After 2 long years, the wait is finally over. On Tuesday, July 5th, your Tuesday night entertainment is back.
KTV
The Remix Season 4 kicks off with the audition show on Channel 5 at 8 p.m. Tune in to see who is hoping to sing their way into your hearts and walk away with the top prize. Then, on Tuesday, July 12th, we go live. And the best seat is at the Bliss. Come on out and win fabulous prizes and the chance to compete in our halftime challenge. Tickets are available at Channel 5 on Coney Drive at $3 for children and $5 for adults. Mask will be required. Or you can watch it live on Channel 5 or streaming on Facebook. The show starts at 8 p.m. at the Bliss Center for the Performing Arts. KTV The Remix Season 4. It's hot, it's live, and it's only on 5.
Leader of government business in the Senate, Eamon Courtney, was met with objections from the opposition side of the floor after introducing a $6 million loan motion for Belize's COVID-19 response. The government of Belize has already spent most of this money. Therefore, a large portion of the loan comes as a reimbursement to the government. According to Courtney, the remainder of the loan will be used to boost the Ministry of Health's COVID-19 awareness campaign. Here's how temporary opposition Senator Beverly Williams responded.
When you come here, we're thinking that this is something that's just coming for the new wave of COVID. But we say and echo the chorus that is always been in this house in this chamber for years. And in the House of Representatives, we are borrowing again $6 million, $6.2 million, 500 million of that is for purchasing of vaccines. So then, if it's already spent, what was the procurement process? Who got the contract? Was it a government acquisition or was it a middleman? What happened there? Maybe that could have been provided if the money was already spent. The remaining $2.3 million, you see here, yes, it's outlined, and we just know that it's already spent. Purchasing of ancillary supplies and kits. Was there a special contract? Was it procured by government? And then you see things like another contract, acquisition of medical equipment to strengthen COVID-19 case management. And then at 8, supporting analytical activities for evidence-based decision-making and vaccine uptake and deployment. What was that? Maybe we can understand. It seems like a jumble of words to me. But now where we are, all I can say is spending $6 million on a response project, Madam President, when last month vaccines were expiring on us, they were hurriedly offering second boosters to us. because they were expiring. But I was of the impression that we're buying new vaccines. We already bought them. Were those the expired ones?
Senator for the National Trade Union Congress of Belize, Elena Smith, also added her voice to the debate on the $6 million loan motion. Her concerns were focused on the negative effects of continuous borrowing on the local economy. Here's how she explained it.
I myself did not expect to hear that, well, this isn't a new loan. It's one that was received before. We reviewed this matter as a new loan. And so our concerns, Madam President, as we would normally share, would be as it relates to loans, because we are aware that the country, as we were told, was in dire straits in terms of economically, and the government had to do its best to figure out ways of being able to survive. And we know that there was a group put together to address the matter of the blue bond, just to help us to be able to be afloat. And so, considering all of that and having before us now a loan of 6.2, and having had previous loans come before us, we are concerned that we may eventually end up where we were. Because if we cleared one, because we want to be kept afloat, but yet almost every time we have a Senate meeting there's a loan motion, we may end up in that very same place again. And I hope you recall that if we are to end up in that place, who will be the persons to suffer?
In response to the objections as well as the concern raised, Senator Courtney noted that the monies spent were utilized at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, when medical equipment, supplies and vaccines were in high demand. He further explained that those monies were spent with authorization from the World Bank, and that all contracts entered into the procurement of these items have been put before the Contractor General for approval.
I regret the response from senators on the side opposite. First of all, it is absolutely amazing that there are, first of all, imputations, suggestions that things may have been misspent, that there is no accountability and no transparency. I said, and I have been misquoted, I said, this is money that was sought from the World Bank at the height of the COVID pandemic. The government of Belize, with the permission of the World Bank, spent money whilst this loan was being processed. Most of this money, I said, would be reimbursing government for expenditure that was authorized, and secondly, for increasing the awareness program. That is what I said. Senator Pitts was in this honorable Senate and debated more than one motion, supplementary expenditure. You will recall, Madam President, supplementary expenditures for COVID, specifically for COVID. Now we hear that they object to the fact that government buy vaccine. 600 and odd Belizeans have died. Probably reached 700 now, but well over 600. And we come here pretending to be patriots, suggesting that when we were in a worldwide pandemic, when vaccines were unavailable, when they failed to procure vaccines through diplomatic efforts, when we came to power and we secured more than 500,000 through our efforts, let them put on record how many they got. Now we hear criticism about vaccines being expired and being thrown away. We can make a decision. We can make a decision and have mandatory vaccination. They won't expire. Who will be the first to shout and scream if government announce that vaccinations will be mandatory in this country?
The People's Constitutional Commission is taking shape. The commission is being established to take a comprehensive look at the Constitution of Belize, as well as openness and transparency in governance. The commission is also expected to deliberate Belize's decolonization process. Nationwide, consultations are to be held by the commission on these issues. Back in March of this year, Minister Henry Charles Usher announced the creation of a good governance unit under the Constitutional and Political Reform Ministry. That will be the Secretariat for the People's Constitutional Reform Committee. Today, reporters asked Prime Minister Briceño for an update on the formation of the commission. Here is what he told us.
Yes, what happened, we discussed it at the last cabinet meeting. We had a long discussion, and it is important for us now to start the process of setting up that commission. We want to ensure that that commission to report back within 1 year, and we're in the process of inviting people from different sectors of the community, from the NGOs to the private sector, the political parties, and so forth. I know now that I've heard some people in the media saying, well, no one has invited them from the media. And, I don't think it was done deliberately, that we do not want to invite to the media. But if there's interest from the media, well, when I get back, we can certainly take a look at that and invite a member of the media to be able to represent you all.
The Public Service Union and the National Trade Union Congress of Belize are among those that have been invited to name representatives to sit on the People's Constitutional Commission. Dean Flowers, the president of the Public Service Union, during an appearance on Open Your Eyes, had this to say about his expectations from PSU's participation in the process.
I'm pleased to report that we received a letter for us to name a representative. Okay. And so our council, of course, will be exploring a possible candidate for that. And we meet on Saturday, and that will be, of course, a matter for discussion in terms of identifying a suitable representative for the Public Service Union to sit on the commission. We have another role via the NTUCB as an affiliate who have also been given the opportunity to name a representative. So we will have influence in ensuring that two competent individuals are named to the Constitutional Reform Commission, and hope that this whole issue of cabinet dictatorship and ministerial intervention can be addressed in this reform. Again, I encourage all Belizeans, it cannot be the work of civil society or the political parties that will oversee what this new constitution look like. You have to play an active and participatory role to shape that, because at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, it affects you.
After the break, celebrating Seafarers Day, we take a trip aboard Caribbean Princess. Don't go away.
let's talk energy. Did you know that saving energy can affect the overall cost of electricity? Practicing energy conservation helps BEL to use mostly low-cost options for sourcing and delivering energy to consumers. We take proactive measures to stabilize the cost of power by monitoring and purchasing the most affordable energy available at any given time. The more energy we save, the more we can meet energy demands using the lowest cost option. Belize Electricity Limited, providing safe, reliable, and sustainable energy solutions.
I'm on my way to Belize, where I can get what I need and save some money. After 75 years in the business, nobody do it like Belize. Hello, how may I help you? Anything you need, we got you. Whether it tools or tiles, lights and fans, we are serving with a smile. Genuine plumbing and electric supply, quality construction supply, heating and air condition, 100% Belizean. Belize, hey, celebrating 75 years. Come on. Quality and savings, quality and savings. Belize, hey, celebrating 75 years. Come on. Quality and savings, hey, quality and savings. Belize, celebrating 75 years. Quality and savings. Quality and savings.
Taking its name from the venerable father of the nation, the George Price Highway stretches 77 miles from Belize City to Benqueviejo. Originally built in the 1930s, this cross-country highway system is the artery that links Belize to Central America at the western border with Guatemala. That connection facilitates overland trade, supporting Belize's economic development. Winding its way across the scenic countryside, the George Price Highway from Roaring Creek to Esperanza has been fully reconstructed to meet international standards, with particular emphasis on road safety. A shorter and hassle-free commute is best enjoyed when everyone obeys the traffic laws. To reduce the number and frequency of road traffic accidents, it means that a seatbelt must be worn at all times and the speed limit observed when traveling along the highway. It also means that pedestrians must use sidewalks and crosswalks where available. Buses should only board and discharge passengers at a designated bus stop. Road safety is everyone's responsibility. It begins with you.
After 2 long years, the wait is finally over. On Tuesday, July 5th, your Tuesday night entertainment is back. KTV The Remix Season 4 kicks off with the audition show on Channel 5 at 8 p.m. Tune in to see who is hoping to sing their way into your hearts and walk away with the top prize. Then, on Tuesday, July 12th, we go live. And the best seat is at the Bliss. Come on out and win fabulous prizes and the chance to compete in our halftime challenge. Tickets are available at Channel 5 on Coney Drive at $3 for children and $5 for adults. Mask will be required. Or you can watch it live on Channel 5 or streaming on Facebook. The show starts at 8 p.m. at the Bliss Center for the Performing Arts. KTV The Remix Season 4. It's hot, it's live, and it's only on 5.
On Saturday, mariners the world over and their employees and families celebrated Day of the Seafarers. It's set aside to recognize the invaluable contribution that seafarers make to global trade and economy. Today, in tandem with a week of activities, the various cruise ships that docked in Belize's shores gave media tours to share a bit of the lives of seafarers. News 5's Marian Ali and cameraman Daryl Miguel were a part of the morning tour aboard the Caribbean Princess. Here's the story they put together.
You might not have given it much thought, but seafarers are responsible for moving 90% of the world's cargo from one country to another. Hence, without these travelers offering their services, we would not be able to have a lot of the imported items that we own. It is with that in mind that the Day of the Seafarers is commemorated to recognize the selfless sacrifices they make for the rest of us.
Without the seafarers, there would be a challenge for goods and services to be transported from one country who are manufacturing and producing to the country who desperately need those kinds of services. The car that we drive comes by ship, and without the seafarers, that ship will not be able to move.
For the captain of the Caribbean Princess, those sacrifices that they make are significant.
The biggest sacrifice, of course, is coming away, because we can't go home every night. And sometimes there might be, family events that we have to sacrifice that we miss. We work, 7 days a week. The ship never stops. So we don't stop at night. It's a 24/7 operation, 365 days a year. Also, of course, we will encounter at times some weather that, either strong winds or at the moment we're watching very closely any formation of tropical depressions.
Tim Springer's job is not in transporting goods. However, it becomes challenging when there is an emergency on board that threatens the lives of crew members and passengers, such as the COVID pandemic.
We then couldn't get a lot of seafarers home because of a lot of the countries, the flights had stopped. So we were able to turn the ships that were normally carrying high numbers of guests into effectively ferries. And we were able to take all our teammates home from all around the world.
Ships rely on fair weather to navigate the high seas, and while accidents occur from time to time, the built-in technology of this day and age minimize preventable disasters like the Titanic sinking.
We can get from the service, they'll put aeroplanes up and they can track exactly where icebergs are, and we can ensure that if we were to take a route, that we've already checked where bergs are, things like that. So the technology, the satellite imagery, and everything has really helped us a lot. Yeah, all our teammates can talk to their families live on the video, which is a big change. When I was saying earlier, when I first came to sea, I wrote a letter, and it took 7 weeks for my mum to know I'd arrived on the ship.
The cruise ships that call on our ports translate into much-needed tourism dollars for our country, and this is another reason to celebrate.
This successful operation here translates into success for Belize. So we certainly appreciate the conduct of cruise ship operations in Belize. And this is broad in a sense. This goes beyond cruise tourism. This is container shipping, this is merchant shipping. But our activity here today is really acknowledging the work that seafarers contribute towards nation building in Belize.
Reporting for News 5, I'm Marian Ali.
While we celebrate the shipping world and all those who contribute to this important industry, there is also the other side of that equation, holding ships accountable when they violate shipping regulations. The agency that registers ships in Belize is the International Merchant Marine Registry of Belize, also known as IMARBE. Its deputy registrar, Annette Garrel, explained to News 5 that there are over 1,000 foreign-owned sea-going vessels registered under the Belize flag. Most of them operate in Europe and the Mediterranean and do not call on ports in Belize. But they all have to abide by international regulations or face penalties when they are found to be in breach.
Belize operates an open flag registry. And what does that mean? That the owners that are flying these ships are not Belizean. They're foreign-owned vessels. But this is not foreign to to Belize. It is something that is done worldwide. There are a number of nations that have open ship registers and perform excellently international. We have disciplinary regulations that govern vessels that are, for example, detained. It ranges from $1,000 to $50,000 US as penalties that are, and of course there's a deregistration that occurs. So if they're found to be in contravention of, say, a UN sanction, they're immediately deregistered. But of course there are cases where vessels are mortgaged and the mortgagee has to be notified of a infraction. But every case is particular. You have to look at the whole situation. If you're only looking at perhaps a detention of the vessel, it's not only at one detention. It's what is involved in the operation of that vessel to able to get to that one detention.
Earlier, we heard Commissioner of Police Chester Williams speak of the burnt remains of a suspected drug plane in the remote area of Sundaywood in Toledo. While the police were not able to reach the location in time to seize any drugs or apprehend anyone, the Belize Coast Guard has been able to keep wet drops at a minimum, according to Rear Admiral Elton Bennett, who heads that unit. In fact, he told us today that they have been able to virtually eliminate wet drops at sea.
I think we've done a really good job to almost eliminate wet drops from our sea spaces. We've been actively operating out at sea to deter drug trafficking directly at sea. What we've seen as of recent is air trafficking coming into Belize, and in some cases moving from air to land, and then so in some cases moving by sea. And that's a new challenge for us in terms of locations of where these drug trafficking is entering the country. Sometimes it's very remote locations, and sometimes in areas where the Belize Coast Guard is not directly present, but able to respond within a reasonable time. New phenomenon, but we've been dealing with this for a couple of years now, and I think we are able to reconfigure our forces to a certain degree, minimize the maritime trafficking when it comes to drug trafficking through Belizean national air, land and sea spaces.
So there haven't been any hot pursuits on sea because there was a wet drop or there was a boat that you're suspicious? And
we've had a couple hot pursuit in recent where we are within vicinity and closing in of drug traffickers. We have not had any direct success in terms of intercept from vessel to vessel.
How so?
We've had occasions where we cannot ascertain, because of the cover of darkness, if that is a confirmed drug vessel.
While we spoke with the Coast Guard Commandant, we asked him about the Coast Guard's success in removing illegal fishing camps that are set up on islets along the coast. He said there's a specific area where they are focusing on now.
That's continuous. We have to continue to patrol these areas to ensure that there's nothing illegal happening, because an illegal squatting could very well be contributing to illegal drug trafficking, because they're all connected in illegal activities. There is an area in the south that we're particularly interested in the Moho and the Tamash area, south of Punta Gorda, where we are currently in the act of verifying the ownership of those lands, and that's a process because it involves other agencies.
When we return, Vonetta Dawson is the 2022 Fisher of the Year.
BEL's annual primary school essay competition is here again. Standards 4, 5, and 6 students, it's time to get creative. Here's how you can participate. Your essay must be no more than 500 words and explain what BEL's Safety and Health Week theme means to you. Every life counts. Be responsible. Be alert. Buckle up. Obey safety rules. 12 prizes will be awarded. $2,000 for all schools with first place winners. A laptop plus $1,000 for first place winners. A laptop plus $750 for second place winners. A laptop plus $500 for third place winners. Standards 4, 5, and 6 students, submit your essays by Friday, July 8th, 2022 to safety@bel.com.bc. Visit BEL's Facebook page for more information on our annual primary school essay competition.
When all hope is lost and the days ahead look grim, we find ourselves looking for someone to shake things up, rescue us, and point us in the right direction. What if the one we've been waiting for has been here all along? Join us for our new series, Troublemaker, as we learn about a man who wasn't afraid to stand up for what's right to make this world a better place.
Keep still now.
Ouch.
I tell you no move.
Man, you really can't get a mannequin for this, man? Really?
Well, son, if I never lend you the $2,000 to buy the kids' computer and the book, I may have the money for buy my mannequin.
It's definitely better to borrow from the bank than from your friends or relatives. This way, all you owe is money.
Would you like me to turn around?
That would be good. Turn on, turn on, turn on.
Take advantage of the back-to-school promotion currently being offered by the Belize Bank.
Biodegradable plastics. When talking about plastic, don't you always hear people say that this plastic or that plastic is biodegradable, eco-friendly, environmentally friendly, green, or even ecological? Well, the truth is that these words and many others like them are often used to give the impression that the product is better for the environment. When shopping, the terms to look for are bio-based, compostable, or environmentally degradable plastics because they are tested against specific standards to ensure that they are broken down with minimal impacts to the environment. But what does biodegradable really mean? To put it simply, it is the breakdown of something into water, carbon dioxide, and biomass by the action of living organisms, usually bacteria or fungus. However, people call some plastics biodegradable, but they never fully break down because they still contain plastics made from petroleum or inorganic material. The plastics just break down into tinier pieces called microplastics, which then enter the food cycle through the ingestion by animals that people eat. Don't be fooled, check your labels. Click on the link below to see what you can do to help end the nightmare of single-use plastics. I'm Alison Castillo, and now you know.
Download the SmartStream app on the Android Play Store and create your account to get access to movies and stream at home or on the go. Prepaid customers can purchase regular data packages or get a discounted rate on a special SmartStream package by dialing 7737. Postpaid customers will be billed monthly. Never miss a movie again with SmartStream.
After 2 long years, the wait is finally over. On Tuesday, July 5th, your Tuesday night entertainment is back. KTV The Remix Season 4 kicks off with the audition show on Channel 5 at 8 p.m. Tune in to see who is hoping to sing their way into your hearts and walk away with the top prize. Then, on Tuesday, July 12th, we go live. And the best seat is at the Bliss. Come on out and win fabulous prizes and the chance to compete in our halftime challenge. Tickets are available at Channel 5 on Coney Drive at $3 for children and $5 for adults. Mask will be required. Or you can watch it live on Channel 5 or streaming on Facebook. The show starts at 8 p.m. at the Bliss Center for the Performing Arts. KTV The Remix Season 4. It's hot, it's live, and it's only on 5.
Today, the Statistical Institute of Belize announced that the structure being used to measure the gross domestic product for the country did not provide a true representation of the reality on the ground. There was significant undercoverage and industries were not being recorded in the GDP estimation because the base mode of economy used was that of 2000. Fast track to 2022. The economic model has been recalibrated based on the 2014 economy, which reflects that the cost to produce goods is up. Statistician Hefte Ochayeta, in his presentation, says that through a supplies and use table, which organizes transactions between producers and consumers, the GDP model is now up by 27.6%.
When we take the total supply from the previous table, we remove the intermediate consumption of the previous table, we add the net taxes, which is taxes less subsidies. We arrive at a GDP number utilizing the production model, which tells us now that the country of Belize produced goods and services totaling $4.2 billion, more or less, for the year 2014. So what does that represent? When we compare now the current price estimate for the year 2014 utilizing the old structure or old model, which is based on 2000, we see that with the SUT, this introduces an increase in the GDP, an increase of 27.6%. So that means that we were underrepresenting our GDP by 27.6%. Okay? Now, we shouldn't be alarmed because this is something that is a practice that is done by different countries whenever they change the way they measure the GDP. And as we can see in the table here, several countries from the region between Central America and the Caribbean have upgraded their GDP number, the base year that they were utilizing to measure the GDP, and that it either increases the GDP level or decreases the GDP. So it can be that they were overstating their GDP model. So like for instance, El Salvador went from a base year of 1990 to 2005, and they decreased the level of their GDP that they were estimating by 14%. Now when we get it closer to us, someone like Bahamas, they moved from 2006 to 2012, and they increased their GDP by 27.6%. Similarly, St. Lucia, they increased their GDP by 9.3% when they rebased the model of the economy.
The Statistical Institute of Belize today held a press conference at the Radisson where it announced that in the first quarter of the year, the country's economy improved by 5.3% when compared to 2021. While primary activities went down in the first 3 months of the year, there was growth in the secondary and tertiary sectors. Even with this good news, the cost of living is up. News 5's Dwayne Moody crunches the numbers and files this report.
With an adjusted base model for its GDP moved up to 2014, today the Statistical Institute of Belize says that the country recorded a 5.3% economic growth in the first 3 months of 2022. The report suggests that the total value of goods and services produced within Belize was estimated at $1.213 billion, which is up by $61.3 million when compared to the same period in 2021.
This represented the highest level of production for any first quarter on record. Now what this is saying is the previous GDP, like Mr. Ochayeta stated earlier, had considerable undercoverage. So now after we have made the adjustment, the level throughout the historical series has risen, and now at this point in time, January to March, this is the highest first quarter we have observed in Belize. And here we have the 5.3% growth, showing that the production level has returned or surpassed the pre-pandemic production.
When looking at GDP by sector, the trend continued where tertiary represents more than half of the total figure, 60% and above to be exact. Secondary contributes 15%, primary 13%, and taxes 10%. So what's the growth rate per sector?
If we were to break that down into dollar value, out of the $1.2 billion, tertiary would provide $749.2 million out of that $1.2 billion. Secondary would be $183.9 million. Primary would be $158.2 million, and taxes would be $122.1 million, respectively.
Primary sector declined by 1%, while secondary and tertiary increased by 2.6% and 6%, respectively.
In the case of banana, we observe an 11.8% decrease from 22,000 metric tons to 19.4 thousand metric tons in Q1 of 2022. Citrus fruit deliveries decreased by 31.2% from 35,000 metric tons to 24.1 thousand metric tons. And most of this decrease is due to the lack of laborers, so harvest was at a slower pace than normal. Overall, for livestock, we saw a 5% increase. Breaking it down, we see cattle went down by 26.2%, pig went up by 22.3%, and poultry by 5%.
But how does this translate to the inflation rate that has been experienced over the past 5 months? The report shows that consumer prices are up by 6.6% in May 2022. For example, the cost of pigtail went up by 50%, vegetable oil by 41%, and cabbage by 75.6%. This is not to mention the spike in fuel prices. Statistician Melvin Perez breaks down the consumer price index when compared to prices in October 2020.
We can see how prices started to increase since February up to May of 2022. These increases were a combination of higher food items, butane, and fuel prices. Looking at the same period in the year of 2021, we can also see how prices increases throughout these months. But they were not high enough to offset the increases for the period in the year of 2022, which is why when comparing the two periods, prices overall changed by 5.3%. Looking at the trend line, it is clearly showing us how prices has been moving throughout the years, specifically starting from November of 2020, where prices started to increase heavily up to May of 2022.
As it relates to external trade, imports were up by 50.5% and domestic exports were up 37.4% in May 2022. Dwayne Moody for News 5.
The 2022 Fisher of the Year hails from Dangriga. She is Vonetta Dawson. As a child growing up on Tobacco Key, Dawson made it a point to watch her father fish. But being relegated to the sideline in fishing was never her vision. She wanted to get involved. So her father taught her the skill, as well as the trade. Dawson has dedicated all of her adult life to fishing. The income she generates from that livelihood provides for her and her children. Additionally, she gets to be out at sea daily, doing what she loves most. Dawson was recognized by the Wildlife Conservation Society at an award ceremony in Belize City. News 5's Paul Lopez reports.
Our recipient of the 2022 Fisher of the Year award is Miss Vonetta Dawson from Dangriga Town.
Vonetta Dawson took up fishing while growing up on Tobacco Key off the coast of Dangriga Town with her father, who was also a fisherman. And today, she was recognized as the 2022 Fisher of the Year during an award ceremony held in Belize City.
I really appreciate that they appreciate fishers more now. I thank my daughter and my sister for nominating me for this. I never really expect this because I like the things behind the scene and I don't want to open going person.
As a woman in the industry, Dawson says people often question her ability to perform like her male counterparts. But With decades of experience out at sea, she has proven that she has what it takes to weather even the most dreadful storms out in the deep blue.
The worst storm I ever faced, you watched the movie The Perfect Storm? Something like that. That's the worst one I ever faced. Thinking I know me I make it home, so I get my gas tank and I tie my waist and everything, but thanks to that man up there, we made it. And that was like, you know, the Caribbean Sea across, yes, and we had a storm just pop up and we make it do nothing but try stand it and get home safe. Being a woman in fishing, if you're not fishing with your spouse or your dad or uncle, it's hard to get on another boat and go fish because they look at us as women and don't really believe that we dive. We man the engine, we haul the nets, but we do exactly the same stuff as the guys does.
Dawson owns a 23-foot boat named after her daughter, Tisha. She engages mostly in deep sea fishing. But with the opening of the lobster season, Dawson is preparing to fish that crustacean. Today, she was awarded a check along with several gift packages.
You picked up the mantle from your dad. Who picks up the mantle from you?
My sons. My sons love fishing. Also, my daughter go along sometime, but she's more like I'm a tourist than be fishing and diving and stuff. But both my sons.
During the ceremony, fishermen Jason Young and Marcia Gonzalez were also recognized as outstanding fishers of the year.
I have been a fisherman for almost 20 years. I began in my 13th, a kid, right? So from then, I started like a cook. I was a cook in a sailboat with my uncles. From there, I started learning, and up to now, I am a captain, but also a fisherman. Yes, and yes, we have lows and we have highs sometimes regarding to the product, because sometimes, like right now, the opening season is coming, and we're going to encounter lobster right now. But after 1 or 2 trips, it gets slow.
I grew up in this third generation, so I'm third generation in the, my.
So you had father and
grandfather and so hopefully the tradition continues.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
The back and forth between Commissioner of Police Chester Williams and Attorney Orson Elrington continues over disciplinary measures to be taken against Police Constable Alicia Trapp, who is accused of violating the Police Department's social media code. Earlier today, Elrington responded to a letter written to his client by the officer commanding the Professional Standards Branch. In the letter addressed to Senior Superintendent Calbert Flowers and Deputy Commissioner Bart Jones, Attorney Orson Elrington wrote, quote, "The Commissioner of Police made multiple public statements, and now you, by this letter, are threatening to breach our client's constitutional rights. The institution of any disciplinary action against our client would be a breach of our client's constitutional rights and would be met with swift legal action," unquote. This afternoon, during a brief interview with Compol Williams, he responded to the most recent communication from PC Trapp's attorney.
I really don't have time for nonsense, Please, anything Orson Elrington has to say, please don't tell me about it. If he wants to take legal action, by all means, the courts are open. Anybody could take legal action. The question is the court going to be so foolish to accede to nonsense that he may want to present before the court? Ask the public, what is Orson Elrington's success rate in the court? And then you come back to me. On that note, I'm done.
Just ahead, preserving the indigenous culture with a look at the Maya Dare Dance.
My name is Janine and I live in Belize City. I've been a social worker for 2 years now. Social work is actually a difficult job. It takes a lot from you, not physically, but mentally. I went for an interview once for a job in dealing with youths at risk. And while in the interview, I was asked the question if I'm sure I wanted the job because it was dealing with troubled youths. And the interviewer looked at me and said, well, we would prefer a male for the job. I was hurt at first because I thought I was as qualified as the male to get the job. And it really stuck with me because then I thought, if I am as qualified, why wasn't I chosen? Why would you want to eliminate 50% of the workforce? People are supposed to be hired based on merit and not gender.
With the touch of a finger, we can easily unlock our phones and securely gain access to our data. This technology is called Biometrics, and the Social Security Board is introducing fingerprint recognition to make transactions and handling of your sensitive data secure, fast, accurate, and convenient. Is your identity safe? Fingerprint recognition will keep your Social Security record secure and confidential while making your access fast and easy. It protects your identity. Is your name a common one? Fingerprint recognition uses your unique characteristics, ensuring your hard-earned benefits go directly to you, the rightful owner. Tired of all the paperwork? Fingerprinting makes this hassle-free. Your convenience and your information security is our priority.
Fingerprint recognition is here. Social Security at your fingertips.
On May 6, 2018, I suffered a hemorrhagic stroke, which is bleeding on the brain. When it happened, I went straight into a coma straight away. I flew out via air ambulance to Galenia Hospital. A week or two after waking up out the coma, I started doing therapy. They had me do therapy straight away. And I'm grateful for that because that is what made me start moving and walking again. And I got back to being normal. When I went back, I did a new CT scan. And the CT scan results showed no blood, no clot, no fluid on the brain. So I didn't require the surgery again. But I had 24-hour nurse service by my side to make sure that everything is okay with me. After I came back to Belize, they still reached out to me, asking me if everything is fine and how I'm doing, and making sure that if I have any issues, I can always go back, and I just keep contact with them. And I'm very grateful to all the doctors and nurses at Galenia for their hard work and dedication. They're the ones that have me here today.
Dwayne Moody, Isani Cayetano, Marian Ali, Paul Lopez. Your News 5 police teams do whatever it takes, go wherever they need to go, so you can catch the story wherever you are, whenever you want, on whatever device. Channel 5 believes on television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, because news is now everywhere, all the time, and so are we.
I'm always on the go, and the country is my home. So when I want to get away from it all, I immerse myself with my favorite movies, all from the new SmartStream app. It's easy to use this service. Purchase your movies from the app and use your mobile data, SmartStream data packages, or smart broadband to stream and enjoy. Be like me and stream on the go with SmartStream.
After 2 long years, the wait is finally over. On Tuesday, July 5th, your Tuesday night entertainment is back. KTV The Remix Season 4 kicks off with the audition show on Channel 5 at 8 p.m. Tune in to see who is hoping to sing their way into your hearts and walk away with the top prize. Then, on Tuesday, July 12th, we go live. And the best seat is at the Bliss. Come on out and win fabulous prizes and the chance to compete in our halftime challenge. Tickets are available at Channel 5 on Coney Drive at $3 for children and $5 for adults. Mask will be required. Or you can watch it live on Channel 5 or streaming on Facebook. The show starts at 8 p.m. at the Bliss Center for the Performing Arts. KTV The Remix Season 4. It's hot, it's live, and it's only on 5.
Whether you're at home, on the road, at work, or at school, if you see news happening or suspect that something might be up, call or text the Channel 5 News Belize tip line at 672-5555. You don't have to give us your name, just give us the tip. That's 672-5555. Call or text us so we can check it out.
When someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Channel 5 introduces the Daily Obituaries. The Daily Obituaries will broadcast all death and funeral announcements and memorials to honor your loved one's life and memories. The Daily Obituaries airs on Channel 5 prior to the evening newscast, with subsequent repeats at 10 p.m. and 12 noon the following day. It will also be placed online on our social media platforms, all for a standard package fee. Celebrate their lives and memories with Channel 5's Daily Obituaries. Honor in life and reverence in death.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
Been drinking all night, feeling so high. Better not drive, won't even try.
Been drinking all night, feeling so high. Better not drive, ain't gon' try. Been drinking all night, feeling so high. Better not drive, ain't gon' try. If you're drinking and driving, I'm not going with ya. If you're drinking and driving, I'm not going with ya. People die every day, I'm not going with ya. I'ma find my own way, I'm not going with ya. It's okay, I'll wait. Even good people make mistakes. I don't wanna realize when it's too late. Drinking and driving is never safe. If you're drinking and driving, I'm not going with ya. If you're drinking and driving, I'm not going with ya. Been drinking all night, feeling so high. Better not drive, ain't gon' try. Been drinking all night, feeling so high. Better not drive, ain't gon' try.
Today at the National Bank of Belize office in Belmopan, an agreement was signed with the Football Federation of Belize for the rebranding of the National Amateur Inter-District Competition of the Federation. The tournament is one of the many programs of the FFB to develop youth football and young talent. The agreement came 1 week into the competition, which has now been renamed the National Bank of Belize Inter-District Championship.
Our marketing department has been in communication with several of the local national companies, National Bank being one of them, and they were the first one to jump on board and said, yes, we want to be part of it. I think it was something that was done quite quickly because the tournament had actually already started last week when they finalized the deal, and that is why we played the first week without an official branding. But the bank is very efficient in what they do, and by the end of the first week, we already signed the agreement, and therefore now the name changed to National Bank of Belize Inter-District Championship.
The bank, as we all know, is a national bank owned by all Belizeans, and so we are extremely pleased to be involved in a tournament that will bring in kids from all over this country, from PG to Corozal, from Amburguski, Kikaka to Benke. And that is very pleasing to us here at National Bank. We know that this tournament will engender better conditioning and better tournament participation for the kids, is that it's a new tournament that will fill a gap that was not there before, and that will allow the FFB and the football fraternity in Belize to, in my mind, I'm not an expert in football like yourselves, but it will allow the federations to identify key players from a young age to allow us to develop them for the big leagues and for international play.
Opportunities are available for other competitions being branded. Ministers Dolores Balderramos Garcia and Oscar Requena were in Jalacte Village, Toledo last week to celebrate a unique Mayan sacred dance known as the Deer Dance. The dance depicts a deer hunting scene from around the time of the Spanish conquest, which began in the late 15th century. The Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs sponsored the celebration. Here is what both ministers had to say about the experience.
It was such a wonderful event this morning in Jalacte, where we witnessed the Deer Dance, and it certainly demonstrates, the rich culture, the rich diversity of the Kekchi Maya, and certainly it's wonderful to see that there are many persons in the community who want to continue to preserve and to promote, the culture, the tradition, the beliefs, the language of our Maya people. That is so wonderful.
Our ministry assisted in sponsoring the event of their, I guess in Spanish we say fiesta, no? I don't know how you would say it in Maya, but it has been an absolutely gorgeous event. We assisted with the renting of the Deer Dance costumes, and we assisted with putting on the event. There's marimba, there's dancing. What was gorgeous as well was the ritual of praying in the Maya sense and in the Maya culture. To the ancestors, and of course for the communities, for Mother Earth, that kind of thing. So Minister Oscar Requena and myself were extremely honored to participate.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.